Hi. So now that you saw what coaching is all about, I have a little bit of a lesson for you. I was listening to it today, and it is near and dear to my heart. It's about relationships. And we often think of a relationship as a thing. And a relationship is not a thing, a static thing. A relationship is a constantly evolving entity. Whether that person is far away, whether that person has died, no matter what has happened, you break up with a spouse, you have a problem with a friend, the relationship is still there. It's still living and breathing in your head. And if we want to change a relationship, we have to change the way we are relating to that person. So it's when we start to think about our thoughts around that person. And instead of saying, but I know that they're going to be angry or they're going to be stubborn, rearrange those thoughts and think of it as, I know that they're going to be happy and inviting. And your expectation of them will change their being. And if that person is gone, you can forgive all of the things inside of you that didn't go right or that you didn't like. And remember all the things that you love about that person or all the good things about that person, because there's always something good about someone. So if you remember those things, you can shift that relationship from an unfriendly memory to a very friendly memory, or a memory that lives happily in your heart. So remember, a relationship is not a static word. It is the act of relating to another human being. So think about how you're relating to whoever it is that you want to relate to, and know that is always evolving and always changing. And always be open to that person and their growth and their changing, because no one is ever the same from one day to the next. So I hope that helps you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. And I am going to send this off to Felicia. She's going to give you a couple of tips on how to pay attention in this webinar. So Felicia, if you could join us. We can't see you. There you are.
Hi. Thank you, Andrea. Hello, everyone, and welcome. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Felicia Lonobile, and I am a certified life mastery consultant, and I'm part of this amazing, beautiful Mastermind Magic group. So today, this is I believe, our very first webinar. So we have a lot of information that we want to share and give to you as a gift. So I'm going to ask if at all possible, to turn off your phone, put it on airplane mode. We want you to be attentive, to listen to everything we have to say, because we have a lot of good stuff coming your way. And I'm hoping that you're going to enjoy everything that we have prepared for you to have. Thank you.
Thanks, Felicia. Bill,
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Some of your words of wisdom, please.
Well, that I can do that. Welcome, everybody. I'm glad you're here. This is really an exciting time for all of us, an opportunity to share our ideas and thoughts on how we coach people and how we take their life to the next level. Excited about the questions we're going to answer for you tonight. I was talking to someone today about how people tend to get on your nerves, or how you get upset with people. And I said to her, if you know your truth, you don't have to defend it. And if you don't have to defend it, you don't have to make somebody wrong. And so I encouraged her. I said, just know your truth, stand in your truth, and never argue. Put the rope down, so to speak. And I think it helped her a lot. We have a tendency to want to be right about whatever it is we're talking, and especially if we're in a heated argument. So I encourage you to drop the rope and just, it's kind of like two rams when they're hitting each other. If one of them stops, so does the other one, because he has nothing to fight. And so that's what we want to do. Just a little piece of advice, something that'll keep you out of the heat of battle, so to speak. And I really, really appreciate you being here. Andrea?
Thank you. Felicia, come on back.
I am back. Hello again.
What words of wisdom do you have for us today while we're waiting for some questions to come in?
Well, I can't wait to get started and answer those questions. Life is great. Once we know and we learn and we know how to use these tools, I mean, just before your eyes, you can see your complete life change and transform. It's just absolutely beautiful. It's easy to do because at our core, that's who we really are. We are the beings. We are spiritual beings, just having a human experience. So please enjoy. There's so much information that once you know, and it comes from the heart, and you start living your life along those lines, your life will change just right before your eyes. It's so beautiful. I've seen it happen already. Our group is amazing. Sit, have fun. There's good stuff coming your way. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you. Patty?
Hi.
You think maybe you could answer that question that you were talking to us about the other day?
You mean about purpose?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an interesting question because being in the mid part of my life and being around a lot of people that are, in the mid part of their life, a lot of people seem to always have that question, like, is this it? What am I going to do for the rest of my life? Or maybe I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing. And, there's something that we always say to each other is notice what you're noticing. And I think that's a good beginning for when you're trying to figure out what your purpose is start noticing what's pulling you and start noticing, stay open to where that might take you. And it's kind of like going back to when you were a little kid and you thought, what am I going to be when I grow up? And why can't we say, what am I going to be in my second chapter of life? And when you really start letting yourself, and I'll say allowing yourself, go into that space, it's amazing what opens up for you. And I can tell you, it happened to me. And one thing I want to share is we don't know what's ahead of us. And I lost my sister at 50 years old. And when I turned 50, and yes, I'm sharing that with the world, I thought, if I'm lucky enough to have the second act in my life, I'm going to make it count. So, start with noticing what you're noticing and just follow what's pulling you.
Thank you. And we did get a question from Lily Lou, who said, how does it feel to be to be live answering questions? And Lily Lou, it's wonderful. We are so excited to be able to actually speak from our hearts where it wasn't practiced, where we're just on our green growing edge. And all of us are just, what we did was we asked for Spirit to just guide us in guiding you. So here we are. Ask your questions. Things don't always go as we plan, right? And as dream builder coaches, as brave thinkers, which is what we all are and what we want to teach you to be, we have to just go with it because we never know what life is going to hand us. And if we just fall apart, then nothing happens. But if we are willing to just do it, afraid, and not worry if we're going to screw it up, well, then maybe magic can happen. And that's what we're all about, Mastermind Magic. So thank you for that question. And the answer is, we're all just very excited to be able to do this. Eric, are you ready?
I am ready.
I know you are.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. It's great to be here. Should I answer Christine's question?
How about if you talk about procrastination? You and I, we have discussed that at great length, right?
We have.
And we all deal with procrastination. Everybody has that problem. So if you could tell people how to get away from procrastination.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for the great question.
Yeah, tell them how you do it.
Well, the polar opposite of procrastination is decision. That's all it is. It comes down to one word, decision. You've got to make a decision to do something. And you've got to give yourself a command and follow it. Or in other words, that's what discipline is. So that's how you beat procrastination. You know, give yourself a command and follow it. And take action steps. A lot of times it's all about habit. So if you've developed the habit of procrastination, you know what? The best way to do it is to sit down, say, listen, I'm going to beat this thing. You know, whatever it is that I don't want to do, I will do it. I will just simply do it. I was sitting down with my mother yesterday out of all days, and she had all this paperwork that seemed to really stress her out for 3-4 weeks. And she goes, I don't really want to do this. And she just didn't want to do it. And I said, Mom, let's just sit down and do it together. And she was fighting. She did not want to do it. But anyways, we sat down. We actually did it together. She felt better after that fact. And I said, that's what you've got to do. You just have to make that decision to do it. And then once you've got it done, then you can move on to the next thing. So anyways, I hope that helps I hope that answers your question. And,
we were talking earlier this morning, right? And how did your mother feel after you got that done? You told me there was a marked change in her personality.
Oh, she was very relieved.
Right. So once you get something that is hanging over your head, once you get that out of the way, a tremendous weight is off your shoulders, right?
Absolutely. There's sometimes there's fear, right? Procrastination is fear of the unknown. So, one way to beat fear, this is, I'm going to quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, who this is what he said about fear. He says, do the thing that you're afraid to do, and the death of fear is certain.
Right.
And that resonates with not just myself, but all of us here today. And it is very true. And we've all been in that situation where we've done something scary and we've lived through it. We've been able to move beyond it. And it's a great feeling.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
You're awesome. Christine has a question. She says, how do you differentiate between a passion you have and a talent? Hopefully your passion is your talent. Talent is a God-given asset that you have. And that talent needs to be cultivated. And through your passion, you cultivate that talent to become, and through passion, you cultivate the talent. And through action, you bring that talent to fruition. So there's not really a difference between them. It's more of a synergy with them. Mm-hmm. Did that help? Oh, we're getting lots of questions. Who wants to field this? What is one thing you can do to keep moving forward when your circumstances are trying to keep you right where you are and where you used to be? Bill?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Thank you, Diane. it's interesting. The paradigm, I'll just share this with you a little bit. You know, from the time we're conceived until 7 years old, we create our paradigm. And you know, we do it through repetition because we're watching. We can't speak, we can't really communicate, but we watch and we learn and we learn and we learn and we learn. But what happens is once we turn 7, it's pretty solid. And I'll give you an example. You take a guy who at 2 years old, he throws a tantrum and the mother picks him up and gives him what he wants. Now, to him, that was effective. So here he is now at 42 years old, and something doesn't go wrong in the office, so he starts throwing things. Same skill, same, you know, what he learned when he was a baby. And we take that into our adult life. That's what we do. We live in patterns, so to speak. And so how do you move forward? You have to be willing, and this is very important. You got to be willing to do something different. You have to be uncomfortable in order to learn a new skill, to cultivate it. You know, people talk about it takes 30 days of doing something over and over again in order to change something. Well, 30 days is good, 90 days is better. If you can do it over and over again, and again, you have to be willing to do it, and then to do that, you have to care. Most people don't care enough to be that uncomfortable for a period of time. And so that's what I would say to you, Diane, is that in order to overcome something, you have to be willing to do something different every day, starting the moment you make that decision, and do it every day for 90 days. And then it becomes a part of you, and it'll supersede whatever was the problem in the first place. And I hope that answered your question.
Thanks, Bill.
No, my pleasure.
Carl says, you know, it's funny. If I feel myself holding back and procrastinating, while I do is give myself permission to blow it off. I'm going to stop you right there. You're giving yourself the permission to blow it off. Instead, rethink your thoughts and say, I have an hourglass that I use actually. And I say, for this next hour, no matter what happens, short of a 911 call, I am going to do this thing until it's done. And when you calendarize it and put it on a piece of paper and commit to it, it's a whole lot harder to give yourself permission to just blow it off. So, and then, you know, the pressure of needing that thing goes away, and I'll find myself doing that thing. Yeah, that's good. That's exactly right. So he finished his question and he answered it himself. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Send them in, please. And Patty, you got something for us?
Yeah, you know what, just in theme of what we're talking about with procrastination, and then the question Diane had, and I loved what Bill said, taking action and doing something different. I want to share a tool that we all love to use, and it works every time. When you feel stuck and you just can't move yourself forward, there's a magic 3 words that we say. Well, first you hit the pause button and say you're having a bad day, say you have a difficult client, say you have to do something that you don't want to do at work, and you just say, I hate this part of the job. Hit the pause button, and the 3 magic words are, up until now. Up until now, this has been a challenge. Up until now, this person has been difficult to work with. And it's amazing how you can get stopped in your tracks, and that's when you reframe the thought. You know what? There's another way to go about working with this person. And it really stops you from heading down that rabbit hole of, oh my gosh, this is awful. Oh my gosh, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. So just, it's a great tool. So hit the pause button and up until now.
Great. I love it. I know it helps us, right?
Every time.
and all this is practice. We started out just like everybody else. And we go through all of these situations. Patty has situations with her daughter. I have situations with clients. You know, everybody has something. That, you know, we don't get out of this life without something. We don't even get out of a day without something, right? But we have the tools to say, up until now, or to notice what we're noticing, and to stop, hit that pause button, and rethink, and just think about the situation differently. And when we think differently, our reality is different, right?
That's true. And one other tip that is something I used years ago when I was dating my husband, which I thought was really good. I remember reading something where, you know, when you're frustrated with somebody, they're not doing what you want them to do. And you can't change anybody, no matter who they are, right? The way that you can absolutely know that you can get change is for you to change something. Now, you might not know how it's going to change somebody, but if you change the way you're dealing with somebody, they're going to have to change the way they react to you. So that's always served me very well too. You know, we have the power to change things up. We don't always know what that's going to look like, but you know what? Change is generally good. So.
Almost always.
Yep. Well, sometimes we're afraid, and sometimes the change isn't maybe a bad thing happened or something tragic happened, but it's all in the way, what am I going to take from this, right?
Right. Well, I think it was Michael Beckwith who said that in any given situation, it is what it is. Accept it, harvest the good, forgive the rest, and move on. Mm-hmm. So that's exactly what you were saying. So, Felicia, Mary Bob has a question. When I'm using my imagination worrying about what I don't want, how do I turn that worry around? And we certainly do use our imagination poorly, right? To terrorize ourselves. We know that.
Yes, absolutely. Just to finish off what Patty was saying, the only change that anyone can ever bring about is a change to oneself. There's no changes that ever happen outside of us. The change is inward, and if anything is going to come out of that change, it'll come out through you and with you. So that's one tool that I use all the time. I just wanted to just add and finish off what Patty and Bill and Andrea had said. Now, to go to Mary Bob. Hi. Okay, so your question is, when I'm using my imagination, worrying about what I don't want, how do I turn that worry around? Okay, I like that question. Thank you, Andrea. All right, so how do we turn that around? So if you have a worry thought and you're worried and you're fearing the worst is going to come, we have a tendency as human beings to beat that drum of the situation, of the current reality. And we beat it every single day, and sometimes all day long with no change. Nothing is going to happen. If anything, you're going to be amplifying that fear, and that fear is going to materialize, and something else is going to attach to it, and it's going to be never ending, and you're going to start spiraling down. And that's what we don't want. So when we have a fear, I use certain tools for when my fears come up. I have several. But one that I like to use is, if a fear comes up, I'll embrace it and I'll love it. I know, you're going to say, how can you love your fear? I love the fact that I don't love my fear. That's the part I love. Or I'll say, cool. Or I'll say to myself, yeah, that's something that I'm accustomed to. Yeah. All my life, every time I had a fear, those thoughts came up. Well, it's a pattern. So the mind goes in the past and drugs up something that's similar that could answer that question. It's going to come up and make that fear even more fearful than it actually is. So the moral of the story here is your mind can never help you solve your worry. So embrace it, love it. Tell yourself that everything is going to be okay, because everything will be okay. Because your reality right now, that fear really isn't the truth. Your thoughts are creating that. I know it's a little bit in depth, but just letting you know, love your fears, accept what is for what is, and see what comes your way. the situation will change, the fear will subside, because now you're welcoming it, you're accepting it. That's showing faith that there's an answer that's coming for you to help you in your worry and your fear. So I hope I was able to answer your question.
Felicia?
Yes.
You've done a lot of study with Eckhart Tolle about being in the now and using your imagination to worry. Tell her about that.
Absolutely. Thank you. So whatever your worry is, let's take an example. The mortgage is coming up. I'm just going to use anything. The mortgage is due. Will I have the money to pay for the mortgage? Use your imagination, memory. Start visualizing you having the money, you receiving that money. You don't know from where it's coming, and that's not for us to ask where it's going to come from. But just visualize the money in your bank account, ready for you to pay that mortgage. I'm just using this as an example because the mind is very powerful. Well, excuse me, not the mind, the imagination and the way you visualize something. You visualize it, you imagine it, then the next step is you feel it. You act as if you have that money. You truly believe you have that money, and you see yourself transferring that money over to that person. You have to feel it. So visualize it, see it, feel it, and act on it. Become that person. The key is there. As soon as you become that person that has that thing, or that person that is paying the mortgage or whatever it may be, it's done. It's not just seeing it, but you have to feel it, believe it, and act it. That's the best way I can explain that. Does that help you a little, Mary Bob? Oops, sorry. I don't want to mispronounce your name. I'm really sorry if I did.
No, that's right. And the other thing, too, is when you're worrying, you're expending a lot of energy, right? That on what? Because that thing hasn't happened yet.
Exactly. So you're worrying before it happens.
Right.
So something is going to happen in 2 weeks. We have a tendency of worrying 2 weeks in advance. So every day for 2 weeks, we're worrying. It hasn't happened yet. It's in 2 weeks. So you're wasting all that energy on worry when you could be using that energy for doing stuff that you love.
Yeah.
You know what Abraham says? I was going to tell you, Felicia. You know,
Yes.
Abraham says, worry is using your imagination for all the things you don't want.
That's right.
Yes. Absolutely, Bill. Perfect.
I thought I'd just share that.
That's perfect. Absolutely. We have a question about when do you know when to leave your golden cage? And I know that Eric has a lot to say about that.
There we go. You can hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Right. Well, that's a great question. We have this question from Christine, all the way from Quebec, Canada. Very excited about your question. Let me just repeat it one more time just so that everybody, all the viewers here can hear it today. Where or when does one know when to leave their golden cage to pursue their passion? You know what? Imagine for a moment 2 different scenarios, Christine. The first scenario is that it's 1 year from today. It's July 12th, 2018. You're doing the exact same thing. You're in the same job. Maybe you're reporting to somebody different. You might have some different clients, but it is status quo. Second scenario, it's 1 year from today. You've decided to actually take action steps that is going to take you towards your passion. And in fact, you're actually generating income from following this passion. Let's just say you're making 1/3 of the income that you made that you're currently doing in your golden cage job. Now, the difference, of course, is that you're feeling great. You're feeling like you're not an extra in somebody else's movie. You're actually the star of your own movie. So there's a lot of good feelings about that. So now, if you look at those 2 scenarios, you want to ask your question. You want to ask the question, and you want to ask your heart. Don't ask your mind, but ask your heart. What has more of the pull? What do you feel is the right decision for you? Should you be pursuing your passion, like scenario 1 or scenario 2? So you want to listen to that, and that your heart will not lead you the wrong way. So that's very important. So you want to listen to that. You might want to meditate, ask the question before going to bed at night, and see what happens in terms of the response that you get from the universe, from this infinite intelligence that we all have access to. I'm going to give you as well some different tips that would be very helpful for you as well, Christine. You might want to find a person that is doing the job. You might want to find a mentor or somebody that is very successful, that is doing what you're doing, and get a hold of them. Find out what they're doing, what struggles they have. There's nothing like connecting with somebody who's been through all of this to get to where they are. So I would highly recommend you doing that. One of the other things as well is you want to create a vision statement for yourself. Something that you're going to put in writing, and you're going to start it off by saying something like this. You're going to say, I am so happy and grateful now that I am. You want to write it in the present moment and write exactly what it is that you're doing. I am, now fulfilling my passion of whatever it is that is driving you. So you want to be very descriptive about that. And at the end of that vision statement, I would actually date it and sign it. And like I said, be specific. If you're looking to make a certain amount of money, put that down. I want to make $100,000 by such and such a date, and write that down. If you can do that, that would help greatly towards moving in that direction. It will certainly motivate you to move in that direction. And the last tip that I want to give you is to take daily action steps. Take action. That's the key. In fact, if you look at creation, I believe it's creation, the word action, maybe not. Anyways, action is in that word somewhere, but it's important to take action take 3 steps every day that is going to move you towards your dream. Okay? Hope that answers your question, Christine, and good luck with that. And it was a pleasure answering that question. Thank you. And Andrea, are you here?
I'm back.
Thank you.
Bill, you said you had something for us?
I was going to share a question that came to me from Kaylin in California.
Please do.
And it was a question about anger. And I'll tell you a quick story. There was a guy went into a restaurant with his family, and they sat down, and he ordered his meal, and he ordered a steak, and he ordered it well done. And they're having their drinks, and they're waiting, and all of a sudden the waiter comes back, and he hands him the plate, and the steak is rare. And the guy just goes ballistic. He says, man, this is crazy. This is not what I ordered. And he's screaming and yelling. And he says, you give me 2 weeks and some liniment, I'll have this thing walking. What happens when we get angry like that, and we don't even know why we do it, we make other people feel unsafe. And when we do that, it really doesn't serve any good purpose. So I want to give you an acronym tonight. And if anybody who's listening, I hope you'll write this down, because it really served a great purpose for me. The acronym is SAFE. And the S stands for stop and take a deep breath. When we get upset, stressed, overwhelmed, what happens is we start shallow breathing. And when we need the oxygen the most, we have it the least. So it's very important to take a deep breath. And then the A stands for acknowledge what you're feeling. Take a moment and ask yourself, why am I so mad? Why am I so upset? Or whatever. Just be honest with yourself. And then the third thing is F, which is focus. This is the action part of it. You get to make a decision, what you're going to do with it, instead of just flying off the handle. And then the E stands for evaluate. Ask yourself a question. Did what I just do work? And if it did, again, this is one of those skills that you have to practice over and over again for it to become a habit and be a part of your life. So I hope you'll use that. Hope it can be helpful to you. Kaylin, I appreciate the question. Thank you again. Andrea?
Thank you so much, Bill. I just realized that none of us introduced ourselves. I'd like to introduce, we have, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, there's 5 of us here. There's four others of us that are out in the audience. We have Kevin D. Smith of Dream Life Solutions. We have Lisa Houston of Zen Encouragement Coaching. We have Beth Wolf of Global Solutions. And I will and I cannot forget our most valued member at this moment in time, because she does all of our technology, and this poor girl works so hard and nothing seemed to go her way today. And she couldn't even get onto our webinar because her camera is not working. But Athena Salazar is the most amazing woman you'd ever want to meet. And she is from Life to Design. So I will let all the rest of you, Felicia, would you please come on up and tell us who you are?
Hi again. Okay, so my name is Felicia Lonobile, and I am a certified life mastery consultant. And it was a pleasure being able to answer some of your questions today. This has been great. Thank you.
Patty?
Hi, I'm Patty Smith, and I'm also a certified life mastery consultant. And I'm just so happy to be with you guys today. And I think you're asking great questions, and we look forward to continuing to answer.
Eric?
Hi, I'm Eric Bastian from Eric Bastian Transformational Coaching, and I'm also a certified life mastery consultant, and I am very, very happy to be here today answering your questions. Thank you.
Bill?
I'm Bill Scarcliffe, and I'm with ProDreamer.com, and I'm a life mastery consultant, certified, and I'm really happy to be here.
And I am Andrea Nardoza of Inspired Life Mastery, and this is the most wonderful group of people that I could have ever been together with. We have great plans for all of you, because all of us are so very heart-centered, and we just live to help people, and that's why we're in this profession. So there were a lot of questions today. If you guys could all come back. There were a lot of questions.
Andrea, I think there was a question for Felicia from Sharon.
Okay. You know what? We do probably have time for one more, but I want to leave a little bit of time to tell them about the next one and all that. So go ahead, Felicia.
Okay, so Sharon's question, something about increasing the chances of finding your soulmate. That's a very good question. Great question. Thank you, Sharon. Okay, so I know I don't have much time to go into details, but a soulmate is a person that we feel that once we have met that soulmate, it's going to answer all our questions, it's going to change our life. We're going to have the best life ever because we've met the soulmate. But what we don't realize is that normally when we have this idea of soulmate, we put this person on a pedestal. And we're expecting this person to give us what we are lacking inside. So we have a huge order for this soulmate. We have a huge responsibility that we are expecting the soulmate to bring about for us. When in reality, all those things that we want in a soulmate, we looked inward and we healed ourselves. We were the one that had the characteristics, the personalities, the traits of the soulmate. We became that person. We are that person. You immediately, your vibration would elevate to the level where your soulmate is. Because if you don't change anything in your life, you're vibrating at this level. So you're going to meet people vibrating at this level. But all along, your heart wants that soulmate, but your soulmate is vibrating up here. The only thing for you to do is to start healing yourself, move your way up, and there are tools for that, until you match the vibration of the soulmate that you want in your life. Now, he or she is not in your life because they're special. It's because your vibration is at the same level. You are now matching the same frequency. You cannot not meet this person. This person will be the norm for you. This person will be, you're there. You're that person. You're You're living it. You're acting. It's who you are. So you're going to meet the same person. You have the same energy. So if we want to meet a soulmate, we need to go inward, connect, work. There's different tools. One of them is meditation. The other one that comes to mind is doing things that you love doing. Go back. How were you when you were a kid? Do all the things that make you laugh, that make your heart laugh. Go cycling, go swimming, whatever it is for you. And stop focusing on the soulmate idea. Stop telling yourself, I wonder if I went here tonight, is there a chance I might meet that person? What should I do? Should I go online, maybe fill out my profile? That's another idea. No, it has nothing to do with the outside. I keep coming back. Everything happens through you and with you. Nothing ever happens outside of you. So let's work inward. Let's heal ourselves. And like this, your soulmate to come into your life. And then you won't even have to brag about it because it's going to be the norm. Are you broadcasting today all the friends you have in the world, in your life? Are you saying, I have this friend and that friend? No, because people are going to look at you like, I'm happy for you that you have friends. Same thing. When your energy is going to be there and you're going to have the soulmate, it's going to be the norm for you. And you're going to be happily in bliss ever after. I hope I was able to answer your question, Sharon. I gave it my best shot. Thank you.
I think you did a really good job. And by the way, everybody, it is Felicia's birthday today.
Oh.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
And Andrea, I just want to, I know we need time to talk about our next one, but I want to acknowledge that if I'm spelling her name correctly or saying it, Lily Lou had a question that wasn't answered. And if we don't have time to answer it, I will make sure that I will answer it on our next webinar.
Yes, or there will be an answer either up on YouTube or on our Facebook page. We do invite you to our Facebook page, and there was a link on there somewhere. It's Mastermind Magic Transforming Lives is on Facebook. You can ask questions there. You can join our community, and again, just like Patty said, we will get to all of your questions for sure. No one will be left out. And there were many other questions that were asked, but because if you haven't noticed, we had a little glitch. We don't have Athena with us. So
I think we handled it quite well.
I think, well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out because everybody is going to, if you would be so kind as to send us your feedback. We would do that.
I mean, this is a great case of not worrying, but taking charge and doing it.
That's right. That's right.
I commend you guys. You were outstanding.
It doesn't matter what life gives you. It matters what you do with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I've said that my whole life, and if this doesn't prove it, I don't know what does.
We walk our walk, or our talk.
Our next webinar is going to be in August. It's always the second Wednesday of the month. And when we send you links, even if you can't join at the time that we're going to be on, which is always 3 o'clock Pacific time, 6 o'clock Eastern time, and I guess 5 o'clock
Central.
Is it Central time? Texas
and
time
would be
Kevin, Texas time. I don't know what time that is.
Central.
Central. Thank you. So it's always at the same time. It's always the second Wednesday, always at those times. So that's easy to remember. And we would love to have you come back with new questions, and we will be even better the next time than we were this time.
And bring a friend.
I'm sorry?
And bring a friend.
Yes. Please bring lots of friends. What else do we need to tell you? Please leave us feedback. Join our Facebook page. Did I leave anything out, guys?
And ask your friends questions. Let's get more questions so we can answer them for you. Yeah,
whether it's business or relationships or health or time and money or your what I'm leaving out one.
Purpose?
Purpose.
Purpose.
Vocation.
Yep. Vocation.
Vocation.
It doesn't matter what the question is. Just ask. And remember, the quality of your questions determines the quality of your life. And, you know, when we ask for a lot of money, well, a lot of money to a 6-year-old is probably $1.
Yes.
A lot of money to me is $1 million. A lot of money to Elon Musk is God only knows, but it's not $1 million. So a lot of money doesn't tell the universe anything. Or I would like the love of my life. Well, what does the love of my life look like or sound like? Or what qualities does he have or she have? You know, you have to be very specific. There is a law of specificity. And the more specific we are in our thoughts and in our questions,
Yes.
the clearer the answers will be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to buy a car. Okay. Where can I find a car in New Jersey? Well, just about anywhere. Where can I find a Corvette? Not as in as many places. Where could I find a 1963 mint condition Corvette? I only know of one place very close by to me. So you see how when you
Narrow it down.
Yes.
you can become very clear on your answer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my cousin, this is a funny story. My cousin said, I would like a cathedral ceiling in my house. That's all she said. She wasn't very specific. She just said she would like a cathedral ceiling in her house. No lie. She lives in Arizona. 2 weeks later, a tornado ripped the roof off of her house. And she knew about how to work this stuff, right? She knew the error of her ways. She chuckled a little bit and said, I guess I wasn't specific enough. But she did get the cathedral ceiling, didn't she? So we want to be specific in our questions. And you guys did great tonight. I was thrilled with the questions that we saw tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, great question.
Applause. And thank you so much for being here. We're just about out of time. To my friends, beautiful, beautiful job. I couldn't be any luckier than to be with you all. And we're all going to be together next week. You might see a different group of us, but we're all one group. And we all work together. We all support each other. We all cooperate with one another. And there is no such thing as competition in our world. And we hope that we can teach you that.
And so, Andrea, I want to just say you did a great job as a co-producer.
Yes, you
Since
did.
our producer can't get on, you did a great job, really.
Thank you, Andrea. Amazing.
Thank you very much. And you know, we just do what we got to do, right?
Yep.
I don't think Walter Cronkite could have done a better job than you did tonight.
All right, all. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you next
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye now.